The fucking truth is, Floyd Mayweather cheated against Manny fucking Pacquiao. He used a legal IV that was a violation to the World Anti-Doping Agency, and now Usada denies Thomas Hauser's revelations. He's uncovered it, and it is absolutely unequivocally true. Enter the arena, the Don Juan Banks. Want to give a big shout out to Kenny Lopez, who provided me with this information. He will be coming on this show very soon. So you better take the time to subscribe right now if you want the absolute truth on this situation, because I'm not pulling any fucking punches. Floyd Mayweather fucking cheated and most likely used performance enhancement drugs. Want to give a shout out to Gabriel Montoya, who uncovered Floyd Mayweather 30 days before the fight weighed 150.5 pounds. He never had an issue with rehydration. He's never missed weight in his life, and he hides his weight the day of the fight. And Michael Montero, I watched his truth video, and we're going to be going through that shit. And a big shout out to Thunderdome Boxing. Love that guy. He's great. Let me tell you, we are on the up and up. People have been finding me. They've been contacting me. The subscribers been jumping through the roof. And when I see that type of interaction, real interaction, not fake, not talking about I want to be #1 on YouTube, I gotta have the most subscribers. It's about numbers. It's about who's being fucking real and who's going to tell the truth about the situation. Even if you're a Floyd Mayweather fan, you don't like the fucking way he walked out of the situation, picking Andre Berto, a man on the decline. Yeah, Berto, I respect the hell out of him. Haitian descent. He came in there and he tried to get the victory, but let's not forget he lost to Victor Ortiz when he was 27-0, a quitter. He got the ET phone home. You seen both his eyes; they were closed, eyes wide shut, like Tom Cruise, and to Robert Guerrero, and then TKO 12th round on his fucking knees, like Monica Lewinsky to Bill Clinton, and all of a sudden he gets a shot. But that's not the end all be all. We all know that Floyd Mayweather, TBE, TUE, according to Michael Montero, therapeutic use exemption, 18 days. 18 days. 18 days. Retroactive therapeutic use exemption granted by Usada, United States Anti-Doping Agency, which all Al Haymon fighters use, not VADA, not the Voluntary Anti-Doping Agency, which Al Haymon, Floyd Mayweather have the CEO of Usada, Travis Tygart, in their back pocket. Usada is nothing more but an individual corporation. It is non-governmental. It has been in business for 15 years. And Floyd Mayweather, for the Pacquiao fight, paid an initial $150,000. He has them in his back pocket. They got involved in the Shane Mosley fight. Remember that on HBO 24/7? Not all access, a show that he doesn't give you all access, a show that he lied in front of the Nevada State Athletic Commission, but he got away with that. Nevada State Athletic Commission, USADA, 6.1 ratio. VADA, 4.1 ratio. And VADA has no allegiances to nobody, and they use the carbon isotope ratio test. USADA doesn't use that. That can detect synthetic testosterone at any point. Now, I just gave you a lot of information, but I just gave you truth about the situation, because that's why you come to me, because I get to it right off the bat. The fact of the matter is, Floyd Mayweather, no matter what you say, Bob Bennett, the executive director of the Nevada State Athletic Commission, said it was totally unacceptable that he used an IV after the fucking weigh-in his fucking house with over 750 milliliters of what vitamins and saline, which can be used to dilute and mask a banned substance that he may have taken earlier. Now, I'm not saying that what he used was banned substances. They were not. But what was a violation was using the IV intravenously. He was never supposed to do that at all. And in his house after the weigh-in for rehydration purposes when he has never missed weight ever. Doesn't, when there's smoke, there's fire. There's something serious about the situation. And you better understand that. So when we talk about this situation, what I've mentioned in the past is about the voluntary anti-doping agency, which Manny Pacquiao takes part of. That when Floyd Mayweather kept harping and barking like a castrated dog with no balls because he has a low testosterone. You know why? Because that's an indication that he may have used performance enhancement drugs in the past. But did USADA do a carbon isotope ratio test? They turned their heads. You know why? Because they don't do that shit. What you better understand right now, and listen to what I'm telling you, is that USADA is way more expensive than VADA. USADA is date for Quillen versus Lee, 36,000. And you had Vada Matisse versus Perodnikov, and that was 16,000. And he's paying them $100,000, $150,000. And and Heyman and Mayweather have Travis Tygart in their back pocket. That's why he got a therapeutic use exemption. 18 days. 18 days. 18 days. 3 weeks later, and the Nevada State Athletic Commission didn't find out about it until approval. Now, remember what Mayweather won Pacquiao to sign in the beginning was that therapeutic use exemption, where they didn't have to notify Nevada State Athletic Commission, they didn't have to notify the other fighter, and they would be given that. Well, Pacquiao didn't want that shit. He even was going to do a $5 million provision, which Floyd didn't want no part of. So he signed a contract which the Nevada State Athletic Commission and the fighter and team was supposed to be notified 24 hours later. USADA knew about it May 1st when he injected intravenously, banned by WADA because VADA and USADA answers to WADA. Let me say that again. USADA, United States Anti-Doping Agency, and VADA, the Voluntary Anti-Doping Agency, answers to WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency. And USADA informed the Nevada State Athletic Commission because he's working with them too. That's why Bill Brady stepped down in 2007 saying that the way that they handled the Manny Pacquiao situation was bullshit. And don't you point your fingers at Thomas Hauser because we're going to read that. These things that he's mentioning are facts. This man has went deep into the situation and he caught Floyd Money Mayweather, and Mayweather doesn't want to step back in that ring because he's been caught and he's been given a way out, a waiver, a therapeutic use exemption to get out, retroactive. Ain't that some fucking shit? If Pacquiao did that shit, he would have been crucified. Crucified, I tell you. He could have never done that. But because he's a man of God, because he's a man of faith, like Lisa Cortez said, a spiritual reader, he would never do anything like that. And she said Mayweather Empire will fall before this year is out and it's happening. USADA, the carbon isotope test, which VADA uses, is $400, $500 a pop. It's expensive. Mayweather doesn't want anything to do with that. USADA is more expensive, and they do not use the carbon isotope ratio test, which is an expensive test. And we've given you so much information so far. And I got a lot of this from Michael Montoro. Now, remember when Manny Pacquiao was supposed to be given his Toradol shot that he had already indicated to USADA, and the Nevada State Athletic Commission denied him that, but they gave Floyd Mayweather everything. And he even broke and violated the rules and still got away with it. And Bob Bennett said this is unacceptable, so this should never happen again. No shit, Sherlock, but he's getting away with it. There should be consequences for his actions because he says he is the role model. He is the blueprint. He is the gold standard. Usada is the gold standard. I hear Floyd Mayweather saying that all the time. But they are not the best. It is VADA. It is VADA with the 4.1 ratio, the carbon isotope ratio test, to test for these things. And Victor Conte already said that Floyd Mayweather does not abide by Olympic-style drug testing because he determines when the test will be taken, how many tests there will be, and he does not get tested until the announcement of the fight. It is not 365 days, 24/7. When he announced Berto, that's when the testing began. He could have came down from all the substances he used for Pacquiao, or he could have used it to the maximum level because you get the most benefits weeks later and you can still pass a test because your ratios decrease. And what Montero said is that, you know, and Chosana said this, you don't look better, you don't get faster. And Mayweather physiques looks totally different than when he was younger. He was even moving faster at the age of 38. And the reason of this being is because he could have used performance enhancement drugs. He was on that shit. He was on that shit. And a lot of people don't like when I say things like that, but it's the absolute truth. It can repair the red oxygens of red blood cells, okay? Especially his hands that's injured. And the use of Zollicane, he was in the cryo machine, all that kind of shit. And so Montero goes into really deep detail, which he said this. The TE 32-1, they used the synthetic epi test to balance 32-32, and it reads 1.1. If the TE level is below 1 low TE ratio, Floyd tested low with the Nevada State Athletic Commission urine test 0.69 in 2011, 0.8 in 2013. The next would be the carbon isotope ratio test that Usada never used. He commends the WBC for signing a deal with VADA. And he tells you that you can have 32.1 ratio when using performance enhancement drugs. 6 weeks later, it will filter to 4.1 and you still can get the maximum benefits. This is objective, this is not subjective, and this is logical information. Floyd Mayweather had weighed 150.5 pounds 30 days before the fight, according to Gabriel Montoya. Ain't that some fucking shit? All the information is in the palm of my hand, and all you have to do is read it for yourself, you dumb motherfuckers. And I'm talking to them Floyd nut huggers that don't want to accept the fact that he didn't beat Manny Pacquiao. That the fact that Floyd Mayweather had used the United States Anti-Doping Agency, used the Nevada State Athletic Commission, because the California State Athletic Commission has 4.1. The Nevada State Athletic Commission has 6.1, along with USADA. Wonder why they're working hand in hand. Totally unacceptable, but you can get away with this. The weight. The judges. Dave Moretti. Remember that shit? The referee, Kenny Bellis. First fight, last fight. Let Maidana clinched him in the second fight over 71 times. The shoulder, it was an MRI. It was true. The CompuBox, the dirty tactics. Angel Memo Heredia, who is on the payroll. The scandalous, treacherous scum, Alex Ariza. The Hell Brothers, where he did the vampire facials, Jeff Cotto, blood boxing. The Mosley fight, the lawsuit where Mayweather had to settle out. And then when Pacquiao countered, he didn't want to bring his information to the surface. So we're giving you all this fucking information, and you still don't want to believe it. All Berto was a scapegoat. He wasn't nothing. 30-4 right now. Ain't shit. 49-0. You tied Rocky Marciano's record. But remember, these guys are like megalomaniacs. Like Lance Armstrong. kept coming back for more and more and more. Mayweather wants to come back because he wants to pass that 50-0. Did they say that about Julio Cesar Chavez that was 87-0? Did we see all these parades and stuff around? But all of a sudden, he is the greatest ever. He's the best ever. He's better than Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard. But get the Sugar Ray Robinson, get the fuck out of here. Okay? The sweet science or using a lot of tactics to win. I hope you listened to what I just gave you. Take this time to subscribe right now. We're going to go through information right now about Usada from the LA Times. The rebuttal at writer who details Mayweather's IV use. Lance Pregmeyer, you are very familiar with him because we know him very well. A little bit parched. Okay. After bringing down 7-time Tour de France winner Lance Armstrong by exposing his years-long doping scheme, the reputation of the Usada was riding high. Now, a week after award-winning reporter Thomas Hauser took Usada to task over his work in the sport, the anti-doping agency is defending itself with an extended rebuttal that labels several of the reporter's points as inaccurate or misleading. It's unacceptable to put out information without properly fact-checking it. USADA Chief Executive Travis Tygart, who's in the back pocket of Al Heyman and Floyd Mayweather, told the LA Times in a telephone conversation Thursday night, USADA has come under fire for operating too independently in its drug testing work for Floyd Mayweather Manny Pacquiao fight in Las Vegas in May. Floyd Mayweather should step his fucking lying, cheating, IV fabricated mockery ass back in the ring to get what he should have deserved the first time, but he escaped. You're going to get what you fucking deserve one day in life. You cannot put out things in the environment and think it won't come back to you. You will reap what you sow. Not only did the Nevada State Athletic Commission deny Pacquiao an injection of the anti-inflammatory medication Toradol before the fight, with commission members saying that USADA should have informed the commission of its interest in taking place the pre-shot. Hauser reported that Mayweather was allowed a retroactive therapeutic use exemption for an IV treatment after weighing in for the bout. The incidents led executive director Bob Bennett to tell the LA Times Week that USADA needs to improve its communication after it did not inform the commissioners of Pacquiao camp of Mayweather's IV until days after the bout. Nevada will no longer recognize third-party test results in the state without those results being confirmed by the WADA, World Anti-Doping Agency. Other turns in Hauser's story hinted that Mayweather could have used the IV as a method to mask performance enhancement drug use, questioning how some of the past samples that have been eliminated by something called an inadvertent use waiver, something that Kenny Lopez talked about in his prediction video that we will be back on Into the Arena November 27th. Thank you for finding me, and we are going to expose everything. USADA, indignant about the accusations that company sources say threaten to harm its brand and erode confidence among test athletes, released a 25-page rebuttal to Hauser's article on SB Nation. Hauser is a 2004 winner of the Boxing Writers Association of America Nat Flasher Award for Excellence in Boxing Journalism. The noted author of books, including one on Muhammad Ali, he routinely collects BWAA prizes for his long-term reporting. After a continued run on reporting on HBO about the sport's inner workings, with several stories painting USADA in a negative light, Hauser was hired by the premium network as a paid consultant. And with Mayweather poised to take the stage when he fought Berto. His extended story revealed how USADA allowed Mayweather the IV treatment for dehydration following his May 1st weigh-in and proceeded to raise suspicions about the neutrality and effectiveness of the doping agency's work under the headline, "Can Boxing Trust the United States Anti-Doping Agency?" In response to the United States Anti-Doping Agency corrections, Hauser wrote Thursday on BoxingScene.com that USADA has yet to explain the medical justification because they are trapped in a rock and a hard place for not treating Mayweather's dehydration with several glasses of water. Tigard, whose agency was retained this year by the Ultimate Fighting Championship to conduct year-round testing for athletes, alluded to what many see as access to grind in Hauser's story. Apparently, there are a lot of people who are scared of the status quo changing in the sport of professional boxing like it has in the UFC, Tigard said. Clean athletes, just like those in the UFC, deserve to have the best anti-doping plan in place if possible. USADA officials say the funds they receive for testing boxers include six-figure fees they gained for Mayweather Pacquiao Pels to the financial backing they receive from other athletes, including its testing for the U.S. Olympic Committee. One USADA supporter asked, "Why would we go after American hero, a cancer survivor, Armstrong, and not go after public enemy number one?" A reference to Mayweather's domestic violence history and boastful style that has made him a sporting villain. Among many disputes with Hauser's story, USADA noted in its news release Wednesday that under the WADA code, if an athlete has a need to use a prohibited method of or substance, they may apply and be granted a TUE. Having an approved TUE means that the athlete is not in violation of the anti-doping rules. Contrary to Mr. Hauser's inaccurate reports, a USADA official was in the home and observed Mr. Mayweather's condition that precipitated the need for an IV. The official was also in the home when the paramedic was called and remained in the home while the paramedic provided the IV. At no point during the infusion did Mr. Mayweather attempt to hide anything regarding the treatment he was receiving. And this is coming from USADA. Mr. Mayweather's use of the IV was not prohibited under the Nevada State Athletic Commission rules at the time and would not be a violation of the Nevada State Athletic Commission rules today. The USADA statement also claims there is no such thing as an interview and use waiver, and USADA certainly did not invent such a process to benefit Mr. Mayweather. They have had the interview and use waiver back in the day. Remember Margaret Goodman and the Golden Boy situation? Eric Morales was granted in 2012 many interview and use waivers, and then somebody dropped a dime to the New York Athletic State Commission about the situation, him pissing dirty, and that's when USADA got banged. USADA maintains, however, that focusing on only the carbon isotope ratio test is not up to current scientific practices, but VADA uses it. USADA also utilizes the athlete biological passport and longitudinally monitor an athlete's urine and blood profiles, which allows us to look for any minor or major fluctuations in an athlete's blood and steroid values, including fluctuations in their testosterone ratio. In Hauser's report Wednesday response, he asked about such fluctuations, seeking to know if USADA could publish those TE ratios results with each sample has provided USADA from his 2010 fight against Shane Mosley through the Berto bout. As for Morales, USADA noted it sanctioned him for 2 years, calling Hauser's report on the situation purely outrageous and speculative. Morales hasn't fought since his loss to Danny Garcia was further tarnished by the positive result for clenbuterol. Mr. Hauser's story is worse than merely shoddy journalism. It consists of numerous false allegations, unsupported by any facts, and where the truth could have been verified through effort by Mr. Hauser, according to the 33-point USADA corrections report, by determining there was an agenda to smear us. As one anti-doping official said, USADA said it to foresaw trade damage without extent response. At this point, there are no plans for a lawsuit. You know why? Because Hauser is absolutely right. One official who is not authorized to speak publicly publicly about active business negotiations, said USADA is currently in discussions with at least one boxing promotional company to enact year-round random testing. So even though the truth has been provided, when you have people in your back pocket, when there is money on the table, and when you have people signed into slave contracts, and you can basically be an advisor and a promoter at the same time, a manager and advisor at the a manager and promoter at the same time, violating the Muhammad Ali Act, but call yourself an advisor and can get away with it, and no fighters are complaining, and you dot your I's and you cross your T's and people are eating, you can get away with murder for advertisements of basically revenue and how much a fighter is worth. And that's how the ultimate opportunist, Al Heyman, controls boxing. And I'm not going to hate on the man. It was Don King. It is him now. It's going to be somebody else. But this guy is not going to get caught. Thomas Hauser's article appeared, and this is coming from the livingdaylights.com, days before Floyd Mayweather fought Andre Berto, and it created a stir by citing Mayweather's use of illegal IV before his fight against Manny Pacquiao. Also noteworthy was the reporting of Mayweather's being granted a retroactive TUE for the injection, with Hauser's story making damning claims against USADA and their testing procedures, the organization's silence and their unwillingness to offer anything more than a formal statement in response to Hauser's questioning during the reporting process raised a few eyebrows. Mayweather has been caught. He violated the rules and he has walked away with a 49-0 record that is not the truth. We're going to go to Kenny Lopez and conclude the video. Take the time to subscribe right now. Gabriel Montoya just put this out. I brought his name up several times. Our video, he's very knowledgeable about the situation. Everything he's saying is correct. Why would he feel the need to take an IV infusion when he was at 150.5 pounds? He's never had trouble making weight. Now, all of a sudden, he's having trouble. Hilarious. Laugh out loud. He definitely took the IV infusion for a reason, and it wasn't needed because he needed it for dehydration. And anyone with a brain that uses it can figure that out. This is really important information that Kenny Lopez has discussed right here. And he is going to be on the show, and so many people are subscribing because he is the most powerful man in social media today. Into the arena, the Don Wampa.